Kelly, and we are here at the 44th Annual California Bus Association Convention and Trade Show, and I'm here with Al Smith. He is the Corporate Director of Safety and Security for Greyhound, and he's also the Chairman of BISC. So what brings you out here to the West Coast, Al?
Well, we came out specifically for the California Bus Association meeting. This is the second year now that we've had what we call a BISCWest meeting, where the Bus Industry Safety Council is trying to reach out to the West Coast providers of bus transportation and give them the opportunity to get some of the value that BISC has to offer to the bus industry when it comes to safety and to a lesser degree to security.
So what's some of the sessions you've been having today?
We sat through two of the critical sessions we sat through. One had to do with the updates on electronic logging, which is something of concern for every motor coach carrier. One of the other meetings that we attended, which was quite interesting, has to do with some of the some of the policy changes that are taking place through the state of California when it comes to new bills that have been enacted. Governor Jerry Brown, for instance, just enacted a requirement that all motor coach with seat belts, that motor coach carriers must provide a means to identify to the passengers that they should wear seat belts. And there's a penalty if passengers don't wear them.
So do you find, do you have to work on California specifically because of a lot of legislation that the General Assembly does pass here?
Yeah, we think it has a big effect on motor coach industry, not just for California, but we have so many of our membership that operate buses into California, even though they're not California based.
So logs, I guess the end of the year, when's the deadline for everybody to have their ELDs working?
December 18th of this year. ELDs have to be operating with a few exemptions, but have to be operable for all motor carriers, not just buses, but also trucks.
That's a really big process that's about to be implemented, huh?
It requires a lot of work. There's a lot of technical side to it. And it takes a coordinated effort both with the vendor as well as with the company to make sure that not only is it working properly, but all the drivers have been trained on how to use it correctly.
So what are you seeing? What are some trends right now? Safety, security-wise, what are you seeing in the industry right now?
Well, let me talk on the security side just for a second.
Okay.
There have been a lot of concerns recently with what's happened in Las Vegas and some things that have been happening in Europe. So we're promoting companies to take into consideration an active shooter plan for their company. What should they do? Are they training their employees? And then another big issue with TSA currently is vehicle ramming. And so we're trying to identify for carriers how important it is to secure their vehicles so that they can't be used for that kind of thing.
Yeah, we were actually in the capital, the D.C. during the 4th of July, and they did a very good job of keeping the perimeter down with the fireworks are going, with bringing public transit buses that have used as barriers throughout the city to eliminate the process for ramming. So what do you do? I mean, is the suspicious behavior training for learning passengers as well as drivers? I mean, what do you see now?
Yeah, I think the key really goes back to that simple statement. If you see something, say something. So if there's suspicious activity, it behooves the employee to identify and notify, either if it's really serious, 911, or notify the company that there's something suspicious going on, and then the company can take the responsibility to get hold of TSOF or a governmental agency to let them know that there's something that's just not right.
So if someone wanted to communicate with you or a member of BISC, how would we reach out if we had questions about these very important safety practices we need to implement in our bus operations?
Well, at any time they can reach out to the American Bus Association.
Okay.
We're located in Washington, and there's a number that they can call.
Okay.
They're certainly welcome to call me personally, and I'm happy to share my cell phone number and information if they would need to get a hold of me. But the first line of defense always, if you have a serious concern, is get a hold of law enforcement so that they can check into it. It's better to identify a potential problem than to wish afterwards you'd have said something.
We're here with Al Smith. He is the Corporate Director of Safety and Security for Greyhound, and also the Chairman of BISC and the Chairman of BISCWest this week. as we celebrate the 44th annual CBA Convention Trade Show here in Alpine, California. Al, thanks for spending some time
My
with us.
pleasure. Thank you.